From making light work of a beast like Francis Ngannou to showing everyone that he's still one of the best in the world, it's time to answer the question that's on everyone's mind. What's next for Anothny Joshua? After a disappointing run from 2021 to 2022, AJ's back and better than ever as he's on a crazy 4-fight win streak, with his win against Ngannou cementing him as the second best heavyweight in the world. Francis looked great against Fury, so we all thought he'd be just as good against Joshua. But that wasn't the case. Joshua was the aggressor from the beginning, while Ngannou looked scared to let his hands loose. He looked sharp and fast, and he kept dominating Francis with his deadly jabs. Then things took a crazy turn with about a minute left in the round as Joshua hit Ngannou with a vicious right cross that sent him straight to the canvas. We were all in disbelief, but what's wild is that this was nothing compared to the craziness of what happened in round 2. Francis tried his best to bring the fight to AJ at the start of the round, though again, it was Anothny who actually landed punches. To make matters worse for Ngannou, he kept biting on all of AJ's feints because he was scared of being knocked down again. Then once again, with a minute left, Joshua did some crazy damage to Francis, hitting him with a deadly combo. First, he landed a jab to the Predator's face, then to his body, and he capped off the combo with a lethal overhand right that knocked Francis down yet again. Ngannou looked dazed, disappointed, and defeated. But he still got back up, only to be sent to the Shadow Realm thanks to another one of AJ's right hands. Just like that, Joshua knocked one of the baddest dudes on the planet out cold. After a performance like that, it's obvious that AJ's now looked at as the best fighter at heavyweight besides Alexander Usyk. So it was a huge win, especially because of how it came. But what does AJ's future look like now? As we all know, with a win against Ngannou, AJ has earned the right to face the winner of the fight between the Gypsy King and Usyk. Eddie Hearn recently said that no decisions are going to be made before the Fury fight because he's confident that if Fury wins, all the parties involved will do whatever it takes, regardless of the 2-fight deal, to make the biggest fight in the history of the sport. To be honest, Fury versus Joshua is the fight that everyone wants to see. And it's also the best in terms of matchmaking because we've already seen Usyk versus Joshua in the past. To see AJ and Tyson go at it in Wembley Stadium for all the marbles would not only be great for British boxing, but for boxing generally. Both men are superstars and bring a lot of attention to the sport, so a fight between them would be legendary. Plus, for years, Fury's been yapping about how he's so much better than AJ, who's nothing but a dosser he'll make light work of. And before Tyson's fight with Ngannou, many fans actually thought he was good enough to defeat AJ, but now the tide has turned, with almost everyone favoring Anothny in the rematch. If both men do fight after Fury's meeting with Usyk, boxing fans will be happy, and it'll be the perfect way for Joshua to complete his redemption arc, as he'll win all the titles and even become the new lineal champ. It'll be a storybook ending, and one that all his fans will be elated to witness. Plus, the fight itself would be incredibly fun because not only are both men technically sound, but they both have a lot of power since they've knocked a lot of dudes out. Of course, there's also the possibility of Usyk winning, and in that case, we'll see AJ fight him for the 3rd time. While this doesn't sound as exciting, let's remind ourselves that the AJ who fought Alexander in 2021 and 2022 is different from the AJ who will fight him now. The dude's a whole other beast now, and he's more confident than ever. And a win against Usyk could also be the perfect way to cap off his redemption arc. After all, Alexander's the man who ruined AJ's legacy by taking away everything he's ever worked for and then outclassing him again in the rematch, leading to the Brit reaching the lowest point in his career. If he can win all the titles and also avenge his losses, it'll be a moment for the ages. Usyk is obviously a tough matchup, but if AJ fights with confidence, I'm positive he can knock the dude out. The same goes if he faces Fury. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves because it's not 100% likely for AJ to be fighting for the titles so soon. After all, Usyk and Fury are likely to have a rematch after their first fight, so Joshua might have to wait longer than he'd like to. In that case, who should AJ fight? Well, he has a lot of options, and since he might have to wait a long while before fighting Fury or Usyk, he should aim to box 2 to 3 more people before challenging for the titles. Joshua has also gone on record and told the media that he has no intention to sit around and do nothing and plans to fight as early as June or July. Eddie Hearn has said that one of the most viable options for now is a fight between him and Filip Hrgović during the summer for the IBF title, which will be vacated if Fury and Usyk go for an immediate rematch. And of course, AJ himself is more than happy to fight him, but the possible options don't end here. According to Joshua, everyone in his division can get some. He said he's even willing to face Wilder, Joseph Parker, and Zhilei Zhang. All of these fights would be certified classics, especially the Wilder fight. Sure, it won't be as crazy as it would have been had it happened a few years ago, but come on now, there's still a bit of us that wants to see it happen. And who knows, maybe Wilder will bring his A-game and look better than he did against Parker. Even though AJ is currently better, the fight would still be amazing. Plus, with AJ having to wait so long, it makes sense to give him the next biggest fight, and a bout with Deontay is exactly that. It's the best option in terms of publicity, entertainment, and money. So if Eddie makes this fight, I definitely wouldn't complain. And neither would the two of them. That said, if we're being realistic, it seems like AJ might be fighting Philip only. But besides Wilder and Hrgovic, even Andy Ruiz could be a fun opponent. The reason I think this would be a good fight is because it's not like it's a tough matchup for AJ, but it would still create excitement because of their history. Sure, their rematch was pretty boring since AJ figured him out, and if they fight again, it'll just be more of the same stuff, but that doesn't change the fact that they're yet to settle the score since it's tied at one piece. Plus, imagine the amount of bragging rights Anthony can get if he not only beats Ruiz but knocks him out cold. Not only would he be able to say that he finally properly avenged his first defeat, but that he put an end to Ruiz's career. Another rematch that could be made is between AJ and Dillian Whyte. A lot of people forget, but these two were originally slated to fight for the second time, before Whyte pulled out in August of 2023. Dillian's obviously far better now as compared to the first fight, and he's been working hard, so he feels like he deserves another go at Joshua. And since AJ doesn't have any titles right now, it also makes it easier to schedule a match between the two. But Whyte needs to be careful about what he wishes for because AJ's also gotten better since their first meeting. And if he can KO Ngannou, then I don't even want to think about what he can do to Whyte. Clearly, there are a lot of options available to Anthony, and most of these opponents are people he has a history with. And that trend continues with his next possible foe, Jarrell Miller. Before Ruiz stepped up, AJ was supposed to fight Miller in 2019, and in the build-up to the fight, AJ and Miller were trash-talking each other like crazy. So I'm sure AJ still wants to serve him a piece of humble pie. Another option is to pit Anthony against Daniel Dubois. As they're both Brits, a fight between them at Wembley would be phenomenal to witness and be great fun, especially because Joshua would probably KO Dubois within the first 6 rounds. So it's not as if Eddie Hearn's going to have a tough time putting together a fight for AJ. It's just that he's trying to book the best possible fight for AJ and the fans. We just need to be a bit patient. So, from a possible super fight against Fury or Usyk to a fight against one of his former foes, that was everything on what could be next for AJ.